Yo, hello and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be ranking every single intro level across the Sonic series, at least the mainline games. So, just to note, every single piece of footage is recorded by me unless stated otherwise, which you'll see the credit in the top right of the screen, and you'll be able to find the links to those videos in the description. Now, since every piece of footage is recorded by me, I did this so I not only have footage to show while I'm talking about the level, but also to refresh these levels in my mind. So I have played all of these recently. So for the ranks, we have S rank. This is Sonic at his peak. So this is literally the best you can get with Sonic. This is Sonic the Hedgehog, and what a fantastic start. This game's amazing, right? What a start is really great intro. I'm really hyped to play the rest of the game. That's what a great intro does. So that's A tier. Solid intro, like, alright, it was pretty cool, it was good. It doesn't really hype you up like, oh, I need to play the rest of the game, but it's like it starts you off well. Like it's like, okay, it starts off good, we can pick it up a bit. Kinda it's like, this intro's low key dragging it, or it's kinda mid, but we'll see what the rest of the game looks like. For D tier, we have This Ain't It, which as in means this ain't it. Like this is kinda ass. And then we have Delete the Game at this point. The intro's so horrible, might as well just delete the whole game. Obviously a hyperbole, but you get the idea. So to make this interesting, every tier has to at least have one level in it, so I don't just put it all in one place and there's some tiers with nothing in it. So starting off with Green Hill. Now, with Green Hill Zone, I feel like I have to put it in S tier just out of respect. Like, we gotta understand this is an intro to the entire franchise, has the most iconic scene probably in the franchise as well, and even the level design is so iconic. The stage, the music, the themes, it's so iconic that they reused it a fucking billion times. Like, this is Sonic, you know what I mean? And that's why I feel like it deserves an S tier. Now, I am gonna include all of the acts while talking about the classic games. Act 3 is kind of weak compared to Act 1 and 2 in my opinion, but I feel like it's not weak enough where it drags it to an A. Realistically, it would be between S and A for me, but I feel like just out of a whole, it's just the respect. You just gotta respect Green Hill. You feel me? Like it is insane, iconic. Everything about it is just really well. Like even though the game kind of falls off, this like it's what Sonic is all about. The momentum's showcased, everything about it just peak. Now for Sonic 2, this Loki might be a crazy take, but I'm also putting it S tier. I mean, first of all, it shortened down to 2 acts, which is like perfect, and it has everything Green Hill has, but better. You have the spin dash included, and it and the level design showcases that as well. There's a lot of really cool routes here, and it's just a really perfect start level. I feel like it took Green Hill and just polished it up really well. So I feel like it deserves the S tier, and it's also really iconic as well. Sonic 2 is probably the most iconic classic Sonic game to the masses. So I feel like it basically does everything Green Hill did. It just removed that little bit. It removed that little and everything about it just so perfect. The boss fight at the end as well is iconic. I feel like Emerald Hill deserves the same respect, and even as a level, really fun to speedrun. So I feel like it deserves the S. And next we have Palm Tree Panic. I would say it's a solid intro. I think it's pretty good start. It starts you off solid. Definitely room for improvement, I feel like, compared to Green Hill and Emerald Hill. I mean, the aesthetic is really nice in my opinion, but as a level, it doesn't feel as fun and thrill to play as Green Hill or Emerald Hill in my opinion. I do like, however, some of the stuff it adds. I like the loop near the start, where it's like almost like 3D almost, and then you also have the future and past stuff too. But in terms of level design, I don't think it's as fun to speedrun or to learn or memorize compared to Green Hill and Emerald Hill. It's definitely a good start though. It does set up the story for Amy and Metal Sonic, which I feel like is pretty good when we talk about the story, of course. And and to introduce two of the most important characters in your intro, very solid. It's a pretty fun level overall, but I wouldn't say it's wowed me or anything that really impressed, and I don't think it's as iconic or as fun to just speed through as Green Hill and Emerald Hill. Next up, we have Sonic 3's Angel Island. Now, unfortunately, I did download Sonic 3 in Air just for this video to play Angel Island and Mushroom Hill, and for some reason, it just came out a black screen, so I will have to use IGN's footage. Unfortunately, they don't have Mushroom Hill footage from what I found, so you'll just see Angel Island for both. But starting off with Angel Island, I would put it at an A tier. Comes really close to an S tier, but generally, what a way to start off the game. First of all, just the storytelling. I am including the storytelling because it is part of the level. You start off on a plane with Tails flying, you turn supersonic, and then Knuckles just punches the fuck out of you. The Chaos Emerald flies, and he steals all of them, laughs at your face, and then runs away. Like, genuinely, what a way to introduce Knuckles, and what a way to start off the game. Like, that's insane. Like, you get punched up and then laughed at and robbed. Like, fight back. So, not only is that amazing, but even the storytelling, like the storytelling in Sonic 3 and Knuckles is so good, and especially for a 90s game, the way they wanted to tell a story, they were so creative. I mean, you even see it in the level itself, the environmental storytelling, where in Act 1, you know, Angel Island was all okay, and then Eggman came and burned it all down, right? The touch that Act 2 of the whole forest burning down and you're chasing Eggman, really, really beautiful. Even the level design, really fun. From start to finish, it's really solid. A lot of amazing paths. Like, I feel like it's genuinely set off the tone so well for the rest of the game that like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. Not only from a story perspective, but even from a gameplay perspective, it was really fun. It's like, okay, I'm excited, I'm hyped up to play the rest of the game now. So that's why I put in What a Start. Really close to an S tier for me, but I don't know. I feel like if I'm speedrunning a level, I'd rather play Green Hill and Emerald Hill. Now, Mushroom Hill, however, I would honestly put at C tier. It was an okay level, but it just really wasn't for me. The reason I am splitting these two levels up is because this tier list split them up. But I think it's fair too anyways. I don't know. The level gimmicks didn't interest me that much. It was just kind of a boring level to play through. And then even like if we're comparing it to Sonic, how Sonic 3 started, right? If I bought like, let's say this is back in the day and I didn't buy Sonic 3, I bought Sonic and Knuckles only. The start is much more underwhelming, right? Just kind of okay. The story wasn't that crazy. To cut it some slack, it is supposed to be like the middle of the game, so it shouldn't really be like an intro vibe. But in this case, they did split up the game. So, and even as a level, it just, I don't know, it wasn't fun. The mushrooms were kind of fun to bounce on, but like that was almost it. I didn't find the level design interesting at all. So I'll just put it in kind of but it's not bad by any means. It's just an okay zone. Like, especially with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's so many heavy hitter zones that this is just kind of okay compared to most of them, at least in my opinion. Next up, Emerald Coast. This is gonna sound like some glaze. This is an easy S tier for me. Now, I'm not gonna include any of the story beginning. Like, this is just when you get into the hub and you go to Emerald Coast, right? But generally, just as a level, I love it so much. First of all, the aesthetic is beautiful. Emerald Coast looks so pretty, and it also sets up the game really well. You have a lot of amazing moments. I feel like it's such a perfect introduction level. You know, it's not too advanced. It's pretty simplistic in its design, but it does a perfect job of kind of familiarizing yourself with the controls and also having like different pathways for you to go on to. I feel like all in all, it's just exactly what an intro level needs to be. You even have the scene where Sonic is running from the whale, like absolutely beautiful. It just, to me, it does everything right. It sets up the game perfectly. Now, Sonic Adventure is my second favorite Sonic game of all time, so of course I'm gonna have bias in ranking its intro, but I feel like it did exactly what it needed to do as an intro and perfected it. If you are ranking these, I would put Emerald Coast at 1. Now, SA2, again, this is gonna sound like I'm glazing Sonic, but like, this has to be an S tier 2. Now, if we're talking, like everything I mentioned for the other games, SA2 nails. Like, I'm gonna put it over Emerald Coast because I feel like it's set up. I feel like everything I said about Emerald Coast, it did exactly the same, except it also introduced Sonic and his character and his personality much better than SA1 in my opinion, and that's why I feel like I have to put it over. I mean, like, I'm not including the cutscenes were part of the intro, but even if we did, I feel like it didn't represent Sonic's character as well as SA2 in the intro. You start off in a flying helicopter, Sonic breaking out of it and breaking out of it with a piece of the helicopter and skateboarding that shit through the San Francisco. Like, I had to put it S tier. Like, it showed Sonic's personality so well too. It's like, no food or movies, I'm out of here. Like, everything about it is just perfection to me. Just what a way to set the tone for the story, right? You like imagine SA2 was the first Sonic game on a Nintendo console, not including Sonic Advance, like the first mainland Sonic game, right? Imagine playing a Sonic game for the first time and that's how you start off the game. That's exactly why I have to put it as. And even when we talk, obviously the gameplay is the most important part. The skateboarding section, super fun to run through and just so cool, so fucking cool. And then obviously the rest of the level too, amazing. It also gets you used to grinding rails, which is obviously a new mechanic, which for an intro level that not only starts off with such a cinematic piece with skateboarding, introduces one of the most important mechanics, right, with the grinding rails or rail grinding, and then ending off by being chased by a gun truck. This is an intro perfected, and honestly one of the best intros in gaming in general. Like, it's fantastic. Like, I'm fully glazing, and by watching the footage, I think you get, like, I'm not the best at this level. I'm not that good. But even then, it's just so fun. And everything about it is so well made, so perfectly crafted. Like, from the music, we didn't even talk about the music. Every single person delivered when making this intro. You have one of the most iconic Sonic themes, one of the best cinematic starts, skating down a city, and ending off with such a beautiful set piece. This is exactly what an intro. This is not even what an intro needs to do. It went above and beyond and perfected every single detail, in my opinion. Now, on to Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes, for me, I'ma put it in a C tier. I'll be honest, I think it's kind of weak. I feel like it drags on a bit longer than it needed to be. Now, by watching the footage, I know it sounds biased because I'm really ass at Sonic Heroes, and I'm really ass at this level as well, right? And to be fair, I actually do need to play Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes, I actually haven't beaten. I've only gotten a few levels in when I was a kid. So let me know if you guys want to watch that on the YouTube channel someday. Which, let me actually use this as an intermission. Y'all, please subscribe, support the channel, like, comment, tell me what I got wrong, what I got right, what are your takes, or maybe that I'm just ass at Sonic Heroes, because I will, like, that would be fair enough. Also check out my socials, my Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, support the content. Anyways, continuing on with Heroes, to me, I feel like the biggest problem is that it drags on a bit too long. However, I do like most of the level. You know what? I think I'm being a bit harsh. I think I'll put it in B, because I think it really helps set up the main gimmick of having 3 characters playing at once, which not only is a really cool gimmick, well as a tutorial to set up the mechanics of the game, right? Where I feel like it's very well sectioned off. You have your flight, you have your power, you have your speed, and there's a lot of alternate paths as well. So it really helps you, like, not only there are a lot of alternate paths, but all of them cater to specific abilities as well. So I actually do think it did a really good job in that aspect of setting up the groundwork basically, and also in a really beautiful location as well. I feel like everything about it is actually pretty solid, even the level design. I feel like a bit tacky at sometimes, but at other times really, really well. I like how you have the roads near the end as well, they're all split. I feel like it does a pretty good job of setting it up. Again, I feel like my major gripes with this, it drags on for a bit longer than it needed to be, and some of it was kind of tacky sometimes, at least it felt like to me. Now, with Shadow the Hedgehog, I'ma put Westopolis low key, I think high B. For me, Shadow's a really overhated game. I actually really like the game, but purely talking about intro, I could do like how it's set up. Like you start off with Shadow skydiving. I feel like it does a pretty solid job as well as like setting up the game. You kind of get Doom's Eye and you get Sonic, and it just a solid intro. Like it is a solid intro, which is why I put it B. I feel like it introduces the mechanics well enough. I feel like it's a really good length too. It's about like 3 to 4 minutes. I feel like it's kind of that perfect sweet spot where it's just like it does the job. But there's nothing really a wow factor. It's not really interesting. Even in the level design, I feel like the level design is pretty solid, but there's nothing that's interesting. It's not like fun to like replay. Like I wouldn't say it has that replayability factor that all the other intros above it have, but it still does its job well enough where I can't knock it. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about Shadow's intro other than that. It's just a solid intro, like that's all it is. Now on to 06. I am talking about 06, not P06. However, when I played, I feel like this is due to like personal experience, right? Because when I played Wave Ocean on normal 06, I didn't actually run into any issues. So it was still like similar experiences. But yeah, I feel, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of conflicted. Because 06 to me could range anywhere from C to A. So I feel like I have to go low B. I think it's pretty solid, but it just does nothing special to me and can kind of feel sluggish at times, especially if we're talking OG 06. Unfortunately, the footage is a P06 release trailer, which by the way, shout out Chaos X and shout out Project 06. I don't think y'all need me to say this, but of course, if you haven't heard of P06, you need to go check it out. It's amazing. Let me know if you guys want to watch that on the channel, because I actually haven't played the majority of 06. I've only played a little bit, including Wave Ocean, obviously, or else I wouldn't be putting it in a tier. But yeah, check that out. Unfortunately, when I tried to record the footage for P06, it was much more choppy in the recording, so I don't know why OBS glitched like that, and I even tried re-recording it, but it is what it is. Anyways, I think it's a solid intro. I think it did its job, but there was nothing really special, and it feels a bit sluggish at times, especially with the whole Tails thing. Tails' part was fine, but he's honestly not that fun to control in my opinion. However, I still think it did a pretty good job. I like how it took a lot of inspiration from SA1, and it kind of served the same job as SA1, just kind of more to an okay level, so I can't really like knock it. I do like the speed section at the end, the mock speed section. I thought it was a pretty solid way to end the level. Even the Tails part, the Tails part is still fine, it's still okay to play as. I feel like it kind of broke up the pacing a bit, in my opinion, of the intro. But just the Sonic's part specifically, I feel like they were done pretty decently. It was solid, but it was nothing more to it. There was nothing, again, same thing with replayability. I feel like it's not that fun to replay compared to some of the other intros, right? Which is fine, it's still a solid intro. But when we talk about a Sonic game where Sonic relies heavily on replayability and it's kind of what makes it fun, this isn't that fun to come back and play again and again and again where you want to perfect it. Especially when there is the Tails part that does break up the pacing, or even just the Sonic part, it's not that fun to replay. But all in all, I wouldn't say there's no bad part about the level. Like the Tails part isn't bad. You know what I mean? It's completely fine. It's okay. It's somewhat fun, but it's just all solid. Like it's a solid intro. Now, Unleashed. Unleashed is my favorite Sonic game of all time. However, I feel like I have to put it high A as an intro. Windmill Isle, I feel like what makes it such a fun and good intro to me is how much charisma it oozes in terms of everything, right? We're talking level aesthetic, we're talking about the level design. It just everything feels fun. Like this is what I was talking about with O6. This level feels really fun to replay. Obviously, you have different paths, nothing too complex though. Like it's not like all the split paths in this level is very minimal, but even then, it's still really fun because it's still an intro, and I feel like with an intro, you kind of want it to be that way, where it's simplistic in nature, but it still delivers so well. You know what I mean? Which is why it's a really fun level. Obviously, the music is great, the aesthetics, jaw dropping. Like, I could glaze Unleashed for days, and what a start for Unleashed. It's definitely what I'd say for Windmill Isle. Now, the only reason I'm not putting it S tier personally is I feel like it makes it like it misses that factor where it makes it above and beyond. Like with all of these in S tier, it all has that above and beyond factor in my opinion. Like you're talking about City Escape, one of the most iconic intros, some of the biggest set pieces, right? Or just the level design itself. Emerald Coast, obviously, like you have the iconic moment. This obviously is a start for Sonic. It's 3D in general. Green Hill, it's Green Hill, and then Emerald Hill as well. You know, just absolute above and beyond. This is Sonic, right? I feel like Windmill Isle, as amazing as it is, I've probably replayed Windmill Isle the most out of what we've ranked so far, and probably just the most in general. But I feel like it misses that one factor, was like, okay, this intro is above and beyond. But it's still really, really fun, really, really replayable. Everything about it is so well designed. Now, I'm not including the tutorial as the intro because they kind of do specify it as a tutorial. But yeah, amazing intro. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself now, but you get the point. Now, Sonic Colors, I would say this is a high B. I feel like this is a definition of a high B for me. Now, this is Sonic Colors and not Sonic Colors Ultimate, even though the footage being shown is Colors Ultimate, but that was just because, you know, setting it Colors Ultimate up is easier. It's actually my first time playing Colors Ultimate, but yeah, I would say it's a solid intro high B, and the reason I'm specifying it's Colors, not Colors Ultimate, is because I want to talk about the visuals for a second. The light, like, the lighting, the colors, the visuals, so beautiful. I remember when I played Sonic Colors, this was before Colors Ultimate, but yeah, I remember playing Sonic Colors, like the OG game from start to finish. It was really fun, and I think this is the definition of a solid intro. Tropical Resort is a really fun aesthetic for sure, and I feel like it's really simple, but I feel like it's a bit too simple, and it's also a bit too short. I wish it was a bit longer. I feel like there was like no meat to it. You know what I mean? But I still think it did a good enough job where it was really fun, especially because I am only counting Act 1 because I feel like I know with the classics I counted all the acts, but I feel like with Colors it's different because it's more like a world and then you have 6 acts in the world. So I'm only counting Act 1 as the intro, but I feel like it did just kind of a solid start. Like it helped you get used to the controls, the visuals are really pretty, the colors is really pretty, I guess. The music's good, everything about it just sets up the atmosphere for the rest of the game. And even with the level design, it kind of just helps you learn just the basics mechanic really. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit too short and a bit too simple for me. And I feel like that's why it's just kind of a B. I feel like it just needed more. But I still think it did such a good job of setting up the rest of the game where I can't put it lower. Because if it didn't have that, I would honestly just put it C. Because it's just kind of okay. But the atmosphere is really set up. And I feel like that's really important in an intro, right? Because when you're starting off a game, the atmosphere needs to be right, the level design needs to be, everything needs to be good to set off the tone for the game. And I feel like while the level design was just kind of mid, they did everything else to such a high degree, it brings it up a tier. Now, on to Sonic Generations. Now, this is actually my first Sonic game ever. When I was a little kid, I got this for the PS3. So Sonic Generations has a very soft spot in my heart because of that reason, because it was the first Sonic game I ever played when I was like, what, 8, 9? So, however, as an intro, I'm gonna put it low A. Now, I am saying low A as in relation to the ranking, but I think they're all solid A tiers. Now, now this is obviously the first Green Hills they've used since Green Hill, at least in a mainline sense, right? So I am gonna take that into account, and because I don't think it's fair to judge it based on the fact that the rest of the list left is basically just Green Hill and Green Hill clones, right? So it did have that nice factor of an anniversary game where they've brought Green Hill back for the first time ever, and now it's in a modern sense. So that's definitely a really good introduction, setting up the atmosphere for an anniversary game where, all of time and space got wiped and you have to go through these past locations, right? So in that aspect, I think it was done really well. Then when we talk about the level design as well, technically the classic Sonic is the intro here, but the tier list did put modern. For the classic Sonic, I would just put in solid intro, but for the modern Sonic, it's definitely what a start. To me, it sets up the tone perfectly. I think it's exactly like Windmill Isle to me, where insanely replayable, really fun to run through again and again. I think the environment is luscious. It's obviously like the first time we see Green Hill in this way, obviously in relation to when it came out. And I think it just does a really good job of setting up the tone of being a really fun game. Even with the level design, just the way you have the multiple paths, like even with the multiple paths here, it's definitely a nice amount, but also again simplistic in nature, which is what you want from an intro, where it's simple but done really well, and it's just fun to come back to again and again and again, right? The only reason, again, I'm not putting it in S, it just didn't have that one factor where I felt like they went above and beyond, but it definitely stood up the tone for the rest of the game by being a really fun anniversary game, where it's just you running through all of these old Sonic levels as both classic and modern, right? And there's also Unleashed and Gens have some of the best boost levels. Well, not some, they are the best boost levels. So definitely what a start. And as a kid playing Sonic for the first time, me playing Green Hill Zone, my reaction, obviously I didn't say the words, but my reaction like, wow, what a start. I can't wait to play the rest of this game, which is why I believe it deserves that A tier ranking. Now, on to Sonic Lost World. I actually think Sonic Lost World is pretty overhated. Well, Sonic Lost World is pretty mixed in general, and I actually really like Sonic Lost World as a game. I'm talking about just as a game. It's not really a Sonic game though, which I understand why people don't like it, because you're playing a Sonic game for Sonic, right? But as a standalone game, I actually do really like it. However, the intro itself, honestly, for me, it's between a D or a C. Like, I think low C, because it's, you know what, nah, I'm gonna be harsh. I'm putting a D. Like, it wasn't fun or interesting. I don't think they did a good job explaining anything. You kind of just had to do it, especially with the parkour. I feel like they never explained the parkour and like throughout the entire game, which is like, if you're gonna have such a central mechanic that you advertise and market, or just a mechanic that you're supposed to play, an intro level should do a good job of teaching you it. You know what I mean? Like the rest of these levels, you have like an Omashow, or not even Omashow, or like hint bubbles. Just something kind of just teach you the basics, right? It just kind of teaches you the mechanics. Sonic Lost World did jack shit, like it didn't care. Also, starting off as a Green Hill ripoff, very lame, honestly. Like what the fuck is Windy Hill? Especially with the rest of the game, like the rest of the game being original, and everything. I don't know. Like, why would you reuse Green Hill when the rest of the game is original? And you're just nostalgia baiting, but you don't even do a good job at that. So I feel like didn't explain any mechanics, reused the location. This doesn't like, wow, I'm excited to play the rest of the game. Just like I'm playing a shitty version of Mario Galaxy, except it's Green Hill, and oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? But that isn't to say the rest of the game, honestly, I think is fire. Like, I would genuinely say Lost World is a great game to me personally. And honestly, I've had a lot of fun playing Lost World. There's a lot of cool levels in Lost World. Like, for me personally, like, Tropical Coast, Frozen Factory, I love those levels. I actually really like Tropical Coast. And I feel like a Tropical Coast would have been a better intro level than Windy Hill. Obviously, if you tweaked it to be an intro level. But something like that would have been so much more fun and vibrant. the level design here is just basic and boring. It doesn't teach you anything. So I feel like this will be our first D tier. Now, on to Sonic Mania. I'm putting it same tier as Gens. And it basically, everything I said about Gens, it did the exact same, but just in a 2D sense. I mean, again, you're starting off an anniversary game with mix of new and old levels, so of course they had to start with Green Hill. I feel like it was warranted to use Green Hill, because obviously this is the first time they used Green Hill in a mainland sense in 2D, right? If you count Mania as a mainland game, I personally would. It's something I do like about what Mania's interpretation of Green Hill did, is that the first act was basically just an amalgamation of the first 3 acts of Sonic 1, and then the Act 2 was more original, right? And you kind of see that with the whole game in general. The zones they do reuse, the Act 1 is kind of like a combination of the best moments put together in Act 1, and then Act 2 just introduces a new concept. So I think it is done really nice, even with Act 2 boss as well. I feel like I haven't mentioned some of the bosses here, but Mania Act 2 boss, they brought the Death Egg robot as well. It was all really nice. And the replayability of Mania, I have over 500 hours on Sonic Mania, probably closer to 600. And like, I have rinsed this game both on Steam and my Switch. They're about like split even, like 250 each. I think I have 300 hours on Switch actually. Like, I've played this game a billion times. So if that doesn't say how replayable Sonic Mania is, and then I don't know what is, right? And that starts with the intro. Green Hill is such a fun level to replay again and again and master. I feel like there's a lot of nice routes and multiple paths you can go to in terms of level design. It's really fleshed out, especially Act 2 is really fleshed out, and then Act 1 is just really iconic. Just everything iconic about Green Hill and Sonic 1, it just took and put it together and made it really nice. It just, everything is so polished too. Obviously, it also introduces the drop dash mechanic. Everything just does everything to a perfect point. Again, I would say the only reason it's not S, it just didn't have that wow or like above and beyond factor, right? Which I feel like it was real. Like, Mania to me is really close to an S, and if I'm being honest, if there was a tier between A and S, Mania would probably go there, and I would very understand putting it in S. I'll be honest. So, saying that, I feel like I'm gonna go high A here because I am ordering them. I would put Mania high A. It's just an amazing level. Like, I'm tempted to put it S, but I think I'm gonna leave it there. Now, with Sonic Forces, I think everyone can agree. Just, this ain't it. Like, using Green Hill now, at that point, was generally just so disappointing, right? Especially with such a cool concept of, oh, Eggman took over the world, and him having to rush over to stop Eggman, right? It just didn't set off the atmosphere at all. The level design, so simple, where it's not even like simplistic good. It was just so boring. And the worst thing you can do in a video game is be boring, because video game is an entertainment form, right? It's an entertainment art form. And at least if you're like hilariously bad, that's still entertainment. Like, there's a lot of people who love horrible movies or horrible games just because of the laugh they get out of it, right? But this is just so plain and simple and boring in every single way possible. Green Hill, though, doesn't even look good here. The desert aesthetic they try to put look really mid. Everything about this is just so not, like, just so eh. Like, you generally do just press boost button. Like, everything bad people say about Sonic, like, people who don't play the games are like, oh, Sonic games are just hold forward and press boost. Forces is probably the only game where I could fully agree with that. And it doesn't set off the tone at all. It doesn't take itself seriously, it feels like, especially with such an important plot. It felt like it just didn't take itself serious. There's no interesting pass phase in this level. The most interesting thing you get here is going on near the end of the level. You just go a bit to the right and take a different bridge to the end. Just very, and it only lasts like a minute. There's no nuance to it. It's so short, bland, like everything about it's not it. Anyways, on to Frontiers. Now, as you guys realize, I did say you have to put a level in every tier, and I am putting Frontiers in F. Now, let me preface this. I'm only talking about Cyberspace 1-1. Now, if you are talking about the entire tutorial or the entire beginning section of the game before you get sent out to the open, I would actually put it in A tier, right? However, I'm only including 1-1 because I felt like that is the first thing you get dropped into as the game, and then once you're done, that's the level over, right? So I feel like it makes sense where I would classify this as the intro, and everything I said about forces, it does the same, except it's a billion times worse. Now, obviously, I actually love Frontiers, so I don't want to delete the game at this point. Obvious hyperbole, but the intro itself, I think, is easily the worst intro on this list. Cyberspace controls like fucking ass. It's so ass. And then the level is like 30 seconds, which at this point might be a blessing because of how bad it is. But you shouldn't be happy that the level's over because it's that bad. You know what I mean? Controls like ass. The level design isn't even original. They stole it again. And the fact that they used Green Hill like is so old. There should be no reason why Frontiers uses Green Hill as the intro, or honestly throughout the entire game, and that goes with Sky Sanctuary and Chemical Plant, right? They should have done all original themes. Take out the fact that it's Green Hill in general. I thought the music, which is the music wasn't bad, it just didn't fit this level. I think the music did a decent job of setting up the atmosphere, and that's the only compliment I can say. Everything else didn't set anything up. I know there's technically a story reason why, Sonic runs through Green Hill and Sky Sanctuary and Chemical Plant, right? But if you're keeping it a buck, that story reason was definitely made to make Sonic running through Green Hill make sense, right? Like, it's not in reverse. They didn't make up the story and then okay, we have to use Green Hill. No, they used Green Hill. It's like, okay, let's make it reasonable for us to use Green Hill story-wise. Level design, again, they stole level design. Well, I'm not gonna say steal because they're stealing from themselves. They retook level design and then just made it worse. Unlike somewhere like Mania, where it retook Green Hill's level design and made it super fresh and added twist in Act 2, right? I feel like when you contrast how Mania reused Green Hill level design and how Frontiers reused level design from another game, it's much different. And again, the level only lasts barely 40 seconds. So, horrible way to start the game. Horrible way to intro an honestly really great game, because I actually really do love Frontiers. And especially with the tutorial after, I think that tutorial is honestly really close to perfect for me. Like, you have Sonic waking up in the rain, dark ambiance, and then it teaches you the levels and the skill tree and how to use the map. And even Cyberspace 1-2, so much more fun, so much better. Like, the level, although Sky Sanctuary again, the level design is so much more fun to replay through. The music is better. Everything they did in the opening segment of Frontiers was done so beautifully to set up the atmosphere. Even the fighting arena with Ninja or battling Tower, they did such an amazing job, which is why it's kind of sad to me that 1-1 is one of the worst Cyberspace levels. And Cyberspace, in essence, doesn't control that great either. So that's why, for me, it's an F tier intro. Now, that is the final tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm probably gonna get cooked, but again, this is just my opinion. If you disagree with anything I said, let me know. How would you guys rate the intro levels? And let me know if you guys want to see me do like the final levels or something. Anyways, that's it for this video. Love you all. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Check my socials, and catch you on the next one.